Detective Oliver and the Case of the Missing Space Pajamas. It was a cool autumn evening with the wind whistling outside and raindrops racing each other down the windowpane. Inside, the house smelled of cinnamon cookies and freshly washed laundry. 7-year-old Oliver had just stepped out of a warm bath. His hair was still damp, and he was wrapped tightly in his towel. He had run around at school all day, played in the garden, and had now slowed down like a toy robot running out of batteries. Oliver's bedtime routine was always the same. First, teeth were brushed, including the ones all the way in the back, then the face was washed, and finally, the best moment of the day arrived, putting on pajamas. But this evening was not going to be an ordinary evening for Oliver. He walked into his room and opened the third drawer of his dresser, the pajama drawer. He felt around with his hand. The cotton green set was there. The striped ones were there too. But the one Oliver was looking for, his favorite, space pajamas, with planets, rockets, and astronauts that glowed in the dark, was missing. Oliver pulled the drawer all the way out. He threw socks left and right. He looked under the bed at the dust bunnies. He lifted his pillow. No, no, no. Oliver took a deep breath. He narrowed his eyes. He was no longer just a sleepy little boy. He was the most famous detective in this house. He immediately took his magnifying glass and his checkered detective hat, which was a little too big for his head, out of his toy chest. "This is a job for me," Oliver whispered. "The case of the missing space pajamas has officially begun." Oliver sat down at his detective bureau, which was actually the edge of his bed. He couldn't work alone. Every good detective needs a partner. He whistled. Within seconds, Barnaby appeared at the door. Barnaby was a basset hound with ears that touched the floor, sad eyes, but a tail that never stopped wagging. Barnaby sniffed Oliver's towel and barked, "Woof," indicating he was ready for duty. "Listen, Barnaby," Oliver said, patting the dog's head. "The situation is serious. My space pajamas are missing. If I can't find them, I can't fly to my dreams in a rocket tonight. Are you with me?" Barnaby stuck out his tongue and licked Oliver's cheek. "This meant, I'm your partner to the end." Oliver started examining the carpet with his magnifying glass. In the middle of the room, right among the fringes of the rug, he found a tiny piece of blue thread. "Aha," said Oliver. "This piece of thread must have snapped off the cuff of my pajamas. The culprit went this way." The thread pointed toward the door. Oliver in front, Barnaby dragging his ears behind, they stepped out into the hallway. The hallway was dim, and shadows were dancing. Their first stop was the noisiest place in the house, the laundry room. Inside, the washing machine was humming and spinning, and the dryer was blowing hot air. Oliver's mother, Emma, was folding towels. Oliver stood at the door with the air of a detective. "Good evening," he said, deepening his voice. "I am disturbing you for a very important missing person, missing item case." His mother, Emma, smiled but didn't break character. "Go ahead, Detective Oliver. How can I help you?" "I am looking for a space-patterned, 100% cotton object that glows in the dark. It was last seen in the laundry hamper this morning. Its current whereabouts are unknown." Emma thought, putting her hand on her chin. "I remember it being washed this morning, Detective. It was even washed with lavender softener. Then I put it in the dryer. But Oliver raised his eyebrows. But when I took the clothes out of the dryer, it wasn't in the basket. Maybe, his mother whispered, maybe the sock monster decided to play big this time and took the pajamas. Oliver wrote something in his notebook. It was an imaginary notebook. Suspect, sock monster. Location, unknown. Thank you. Keep your eyes peeled, Oliver said and turned to Barnaby. Come on, partner, we're going to the kitchen. Dad is there, maybe he saw something. When they entered the kitchen, Oliver's father, Lucas, was preparing himself some herbal tea. There was a newspaper and a half-eaten apple on the table. Barnaby immediately ran to his food bowl, but Oliver stopped him. Now is not the time to eat, Officer Barnaby, we are on duty. His father, Lucas, looked serious when he saw Oliver's hat. What seems to be the problem, officer? Did the cookies go missing again? Worse, said Oliver. My pajamas. The alien ones. His father nodded. A huge loss. Sounds like going to Mars will be difficult tonight. Actually, I saw something strange when I was walking to the living room. Oliver excitedly held the magnifying glass up to his father. What did you see, Dad? Please describe every detail. Well, said Lucas, taking a sip of his tea. I saw a blue shadow gliding down the hallway. It looked like it was dragging on the floor. And it was making strange noises. Like a swish-swish sound. Oliver and Barnaby looked at each other. Swish-swish? Yes, said his father. And this shadow was heading towards the guest room. Oliver had caught the clue. Thank you, Citizen Lucas. This information could be a lifesaver. Oliver and Barnaby left the kitchen. The guest room at the far end of the house wasn't used very often. Its door was ajar, and it was dark inside. Oliver turned on his flashlight. The beam of light cut through the hallway. Barnaby suddenly started barking and ran towards the guest room. Wait, Barnaby! It could be a trap! Shouted Oliver, but his loyal dog had already entered the room. Oliver pushed the door open slowly. It opened with a creaking sound. He shined the flashlight around the room. The bed was made. The closet was closed. The curtains weren't moving. But he heard a sound. That sound his father had mentioned, swish. Swish. The sound was coming from behind the large velvet armchair in the corner of the room. Oliver felt his heart go, thump, thump. A detective is never afraid, but he can get excited. He approached the armchair slowly. Surrender, he shouted. You are surrounded. He jumped behind the armchair and shined the flashlight there. At the sight before him, Oliver was first surprised, then he started laughing out loud. Behind the armchair were Oliver's little sister Mia, who was just 4 years old, and their cat, Luna. But what mattered was what they were doing. Mia had spread Oliver's missing space pajamas on the floor and laid their cat, Luna, on top of them. She had also covered Luna with the top part of the pajamas. Luna seemed very pleased with the soft fabric of the pajamas and was purring. Mia was examining the cat with a toy stethoscope in her hand. Shush, said Mia, putting her finger to her lips. Astronaut Luna is very sick. She caught a cold in space. I am curing her. Oliver adjusted his detective hat. So, you were the culprit, Mia. And your accomplice is Luna. Mia smiled innocently. But Big Brother, this was the warmest and softest pajama. Luna needed to get better. The detective inside Oliver tried to stay tough, but his big brother instincts took over. He bent down and patted the cat's head. "Well, doctor, how is your patient's condition?" "Fit as a fiddle," said Mia. "She can be discharged now." Mia gently lifted the cat. Luna stretched and walked away. Oliver picked up his pajamas from the floor. They had a little cat hair on them, but they still smelled lovely, like lavender. "Thank you, Mia," said Oliver. "But next time, don't take equipment from the space base without permission, okay?" "Okay, detective brother," giggled Mia. Oliver returned to his room, throwing his pajamas over his shoulder. Barnaby curled up on the cushion next to his bed, proud of having successfully completed his mission. Oliver put on his pajamas. When the fabric touched his skin, he relaxed so much. The detective adventure had tired him out. He looked in the mirror. The rockets and planets on him had already started to glow with the light of the night lamp in the room. His mother and father came into the room to give him a goodnight kiss. "Did you solve the case, detective?" asked his father. "Yes," said Oliver, yawning. "The culprit was an overly affectionate doctor and a cold cat. Case closed." His mother pulled the quilt up to Oliver's chin. "Well done, my clever boy. Now it's time to get on those rockets and go to your dreams." Oliver laid his head on the pillow. The sound of the rain now sounded like a lullaby to him. He heard Barnaby's steady breathing. His eyelids grew heavy. The astronaut on his pajamas seemed to wink at him. Oliver smiled. The missing pajamas were found, everyone was safe, and the house was warm. "Good night, Barnaby. Good night, world. Good night, space," he murmured. And Detective Oliver drifted into a deep sleep, heading towards the most beautiful dreams among the stars. The end.